Well, record-breaking drought continues to scorch wide swaths of sub-Saharan Africa, from Somalia in the east to Niger in the west. Humanitarian groups say tens of millions of people are going hungry, and conditions are being made worse by the ripple effects of Russia's war on Ukraine. Correspondent Fred de Sam Lazaro has our report from one of the worst affected countries, South Sudan, where nearly 2/3 of the population face acute hunger.
By many measures, South Sudan is one of the worst places on earth to be a child. Vivid reminders of this greet workers who actually measure the fragile arms at this nutrition center in the capital, Juba. Almost every infant checks in the red zone, severely malnourished. On the day we visited, Christine Dier brought in her 2-year-old daughter, Esther, a 2-year-old who weighs 11 pounds, she says. That's less than half the normal weight range for her age.
There was no food for us in the house, so this child got anemic, and they told me that she was malnourished.
Jacqueline Marco was here with her 8-month-old, Rose Jima.
I'm breastfeeding, but there's not enough milk. Sometimes the whole week there's no food. We have to go to the neighbors and ask for food.
Does you know how much Rose Jima weighs? 2 kilos. So that's 4.5 pounds for an 8-month-old child. It's very likely she weighed more than that as a newborn.
Malnutrition, especially at such a young age, especially under 2 years of age, has significant cognitive challenges. Neurological development, cognitive development, and all is affected.
Dr. Mesfin Loha is the country director for World Vision, a large Christian charity that contracts with the United Nations to deliver services here. So the future of South Sudan in so many ways is quite literally shriveling away.
Without urgent support to turn the tide of this devastation, it is going to be a big problem.
The children's struggle could be a metaphor for their young country. Born a decade ago after a long separatist war, South Sudan has been battered by unrelenting civil conflict. More than 2 million of its citizens remain refugees in neighboring countries, and a similar number have been driven into crowded camps, overwhelming those trying to provide assistance. The supply of basic foodstuffs has dwindled in warehouses like these as the UN's World Food Program has run out of money to restock them. And the WFP has had to reprioritize. As one official put it, taking away food from the hungry to feed the starving.
There's nothing as difficult as trying to convince someone who is hungry that there's someone who is hungrier, that you need to prioritize someone else.
Sibona Kaliso Impala is with World Vision's facilities in the northern town of Malakal, a region where the small farmers have seen their livelihoods devastated by erratic weather in recent months. All around this soggy camp, the land remains waterlogged, and many people fear there's a lot more rain on the way.
We're seeing the effects of climate change right at the front, because we do have cyclic drought, and then more recently we've been seeing worsening flooding. Both effects really affect the abilities of the communities to cope. They cannot cultivate.
So instead of scaling up, you're actually scaling down.
We are scaling down.
Across the country, internal refugees like Nyalua Gai, who heads a household of 7 children, have been forced to live with less, much less. When we visited early this August, she showed us her monthly rations. Sorghum, already half gone. Cooking oil, fast running out. And some beans, all gone. And a lot of August still to go. This is sufficient for 1 meal a day for 10 days. So what do you do for the rest of the time?
Whenever this runs out, we go to the bush to look for wild fruits or bring in firewood for sale, and we can use that little money we get from selling firewood to buy other food in the market.
Rounding up the perfect storm with conflict and climate change, the war in Ukraine. It sent prices soaring for fertilizer, fuel, and food, hitting big buyers like the World Food Program and small ones like Jane Kiden, who have beaten the odds and eked out a life outside of camps.
Now in the market, things are very expensive, and I cannot afford to buy food for my children.
She belongs to a group that tends a community garden, one way to cope with the scarcity. A single mother of 8, Jane Kiden also does domestic work around town when she can find it. We visited early the next morning as she prepared a pot of porridge made from fermented sorghum. It's rich in carbohydrates and protein, but there's just 1 cup per child to last the whole day, or if she doesn't find work, until the next morning. Another lost dream, Jane was forced to pull out 3 of her 6 school-aged children.
I wanted all my children to go to school. I tell them that I can't send them all because of the money. Of course, they keep quiet, but deep down, I know they are not happy.
9-year-old Adia is one of the lucky siblings. She attends a nearby school with no frills, no school lunch, and no guarantee her mother can continue to pay the tuition of about $100 paid over the school year. It's the same uncertainty at the nutrition centers. The World Food Program says it expects supplies of this protein-rich paste intended for severely malnourished children to run out by the end of August. It's all the more painful given how effective this simple nutrition therapy can be. 10-month-old Ivan had been on it for 3 weeks and was brought in by his mother, Evelyn Jury, for a follow-up check. A relief, a green light for a moment of simple happiness that his mother feels may be all too fleeting as she awaits word on whether her baby's care package may be the last one in a while.
It's why my child is a little bit better than before, but if it's gone, he goes back to where he was.
In July, the U.S. government added $117 million in emergency aid for South Sudan. Even with that, the UN says it's raised barely a third of what's needed here, in a world beset by humanitarian crises and blindsided by the one in Ukraine. For the PBS NewsHour, this is Fred de Sam Lazaro in Juba, South Sudan.
And Fred's reporting is a partnership with the Undertold Stories Project at the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota. Now,